Anyway, so I've been thinking about this for years since becoming a teacher. Prior to being a teacher, I was a broadcast journalist, and and during that time, as I was transitioning from being a journalist to a teacher, I thought about how can I bring my skills into my classroom. These days, photojournalism is a gimme. So many kids have cameras or access to cameras by way of a phone or a tablet, and they're already sharing. Um, so the um, the trick for the teacher is how do you capture that energy? How do you channel it into a venue so that they can easily share stories that support curriculum, but also in the process refine their storytelling skills. It's they learn through friends, through family, how to post online, types of pictures they would share, but there's not that explicit conversation about how to compose a shot or how to write to a photo. And these are areas where an instructor, a teacher, can be helpful. So I put this quote up from Dorothea Lange. You may not be familiar with the name, but you may be familiar with her work. Um, she's well known for capturing the human side of the Great Depression, and this is one of her more well known photos. There are other famous photographers who focused on stories that were not well known, but became prominent. Stories from people like Jacob Riis and Lewis Hine called attention to, as Jacob Riis said, how the other half lives in the early 1900s as immigrants started flooding into the country, particularly New York City. Lewis Hine specialized or is known for his photos that capture child labor in the early 1900s. So as we look at these photos, as we study the photo and read the photos, um, we can learn quite a bit about uh, the period of time, social acceptance, the cultural norms of the time. So you can pick up quite a bit. I just want to share this one picture with you. I was combing around online doing some research about my own family, and I came across this photo. Now it's poor resolution, but um, this is a team photo of a group of Japanese language instructors at a naval intelligence school in Boulder, Colorado, in the early 40s, right after Pearl Harbor. And I'm reading the story and I'm looking at this photo, and I notice this guy here is my grandfather.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I knew that he was an instructor, and I knew that because of him, um, he was able to relocate his family from San Francisco to a safer place. And I heard those stories. As I look more closely at the photo, I see that this guy is my father. So, and there's not a whole lot of info that there is an article, but just this photo alone is just rich with information. The clothes they wore, their facial expressions, and especially at a time where you'd think they'd be under great duress, but they look like one big family. So pictures are great for just getting you to pause and reflect on the moment. This is one of my favorite pictures, and Allison probably remembers this moment, this activity that we did with our second graders. These are second graders. Now, this picture sticks with me because this particular child was just she just left an indelible impression on everyone. Her huge reactions to everything. She was articulate, engaged, and just always always good for the right reaction that perks you up. So when I look at these pictures, you know, I think that is who she will always be in my memory. And Andy Warhol touched upon that. He said the best thing about a picture is that it never changes, even when the people in it do. Right? Someday down the road, we may see her again. Allison and I may see her again, and she won't be the same little girl, but part of her will be, and part of her will always be that same girl in this photo. There it goes. Oh, Wi-Fi lag. Sorry, it's my Google Slides. It's not moving quickly enough. So we know that kids today have access to the devices. They are immersed in an online culture, and so are their parents. You look at Facebook, nearly 2 billion users around the world, and TikTok, which went through its last corporate merger 2 years ago, 2018, already 500 million users. You have preteens and you have adults, young adults, that are making use of it. If you've been on TikTok, you would see that lately they've been saturated with videos from the World Health Organization. Lots of health experts are using this medium to get a message across to a subset of the population that may not be getting accurate information. Right? But kids are online, adults are online, and they have the tools for sharing pictures, the tools for telling stories through images. So that brings up a challenge for teachers. And it'd be a fun challenge too. How do we tap into a student's enthusiasm for capturing stories with images and help them refine their storytelling skills? So I have some suggestions. And at any time, feel free to bust in if you have any thoughts, any suggestions. This presentation is a result of thoughts that have been kicking around my head for several years now, and as I said before, this presentation is still somewhat unfinished, but I wanted to get some ideas out there so we can at least sink our teeth into that. So one thing that we can do is encourage students to read the pictures. Right? Take a photo. Could be an iconic photo. It could be an everyday photo, but get them to study that picture. Follow their eyes from one object to another. Notice the composition, how the subjects are arranged within the photo. Reading it requires basically a search for meaning, search for understanding, and they will bring in whatever information they have, whether it's historical, cultural information, or personal information. They'll use that to construct meaning in these photos. Now, if you're looking for some good resources to share with students on that has lots of photos where they can read, here's just a quick list. The AP News photography site. I'll click on these sites really quick. Right? AP News has their photo library, their photo gallery. Sorry, this is my Wi-Fi being sluggish. If it's moving across the screen slowly for you. I was looking at this one last night. Mostly because I was in Japan over the summer and we were in one location where there are deer roaming freely. Yeah, this isn't going to work for me to scroll through them just because I think I'm having a little delay. But what I'm going to do is, so you can scroll independently, I'm going to take this link and I'm going to drop it in the chat section. So give me a moment. Oh. Sorry, this is being really sluggish. Let me drop that out for a moment. Okay. In your chat section, you should have the link to this presentation. So hopefully your Wi-Fi is moving a little bit more quickly than mine. And then I'm going to grab this screen again. All right. All right, so you can so AP News is great. Newsela, Newsella, whatever you prefer to call it, has terrific current event stories for students of all ages, and they're all accompanied with photos. The BBC site also has a photo gallery. What? I'm sorry. Let me open up the New York Times one, which I'm not as familiar with. I know that a few years ago people were talking about it. Their special segment on what's going on in this picture, and it was about visual literacy. It was about encouraging students to develop their visual literacy skill and to read the pictures and identify information that they could use to incorporate in a caption. I don't know what it is, but one reason why my laptop's moving sluggishly has something to do with the Zoom app overheating. Oh, I think I just closed out of my presentation. All right. Anybody have any questions, thoughts so far while I try to dig up my presentation again? On the link there is, I don't know if you've clicked on it yet. You may have heard of the Humans of New York. That is that's a site that has grown in popularity, or that's been very popular on social media sites like Instagram and Facebook, and it just it slows the world down so you can see the person. Right? It focuses on humanity. Right? We're so often zipping through, scrolling through pictures, but the Humans of New York goes deeply and looks at the stories of individuals and their situations, and it's all about relatability. It's all about knowing that there are people like me out there who have the same kind of human issues, family problems, or professional problems, or cultural issues, but it's a way for us to connect with other people. All right. So these are resources that you can use to read photos. And obviously, there's the challenge to get students to write to photos. Right. Like in the New York Times site, what's going on in this picture, you can take pictures and have kids write captions. Now the thing with captions is that it's about getting kids to write concisely, writing with brevity. You can write a caption that um, typically, I think, people, when they write captions, they'll write what they're reading in the picture. But the ideal caption will actually have, will add meaning to it, will add context to the photo. A bird just attacked my window. um, so you can, so here's a picture of, I think I want to say 1950s New York City heat wave, where you can read the picture and you can tell what's going on. But the caption should include information that is not readily available with this photo. And then the challenge would be rewrite your caption. Write it concisely, write it with fewer words, but then focus on writing with impact words. And this is a way to help develop vocabulary. I'm clicking. There it is. There's a legend of Hemingway. Some of you may be familiar with it. The 6-word story. Right. Legend had it that Hemingway was with some of his writing buddies, and he bet them that he can tell a story in 6 words. He won the bet because he's Hemingway. And I'm going to click on this link to an NPR story. A few years ago, they opened up this challenge to other people, building upon the story of Ernest Hemingway and his bet to his writing buddies. So the 6-word story, as it says there, is for sale, baby shoes, never worn. So in this article is about this Smith Magazine call to writers and readers to submit their own. Right. So this is pretty interesting. But the whole idea is to convey meaning, to convey story as briefly as possible. It is a challenge, and it's but you're constantly pushing the kids to refine their skills for storytelling. Sorry, there it goes. All right. But all of this, it starts with, prompting kids to use the tools that they have and to start developing their storytelling skills with it. And then once they have their photos and their stories created, giving them some guidance as to where they can post the stories. I know for our youngest elementary kids, they're already posting in an online journal platform called Seesaw. It's basically their blog. We have campus press or edublogs available for students in grades 3 through 12. Right? Another place where they can post their stories, whether in the and they can keep those stories within the Scarsdale domain, or they can publish beyond the Scarsdale domain. Right? And blogs are a great way for them to just start thinking about who they are, and what kind of image and online reputation do they want to project and curate. What do they want the world to see of them and who they are, right? But it's also a great way to start getting into the habit of writing for that online audience, an audience that may be does not include just your friends and family, right? But we have the tools to give kids opportunities to publish. I put Adobe Spark on there. I don't know if you're familiar with Adobe Spark. In Scarsdale, we have. I don't know if it'll let me. There it goes. In Scarsdale, students have accounts. Ugh. All right, I'm sorry. It's my Wi-Fi is moving really slow here, and as I click, don't realize I'm double clicking and closing out tabs. But so this is not a really good time for me to do a show and tell on these tools. But know that with Adobe Spark, kids can, or students and teachers can create these really dynamic web pages that are photo intensive, but it's very easy to view. The way it's laid out, the way the transitions are aligned, it's captivating for your audience. So teachers and students have access to Adobe Spark. Um, Elementary and middle school kids, I believe, are familiar with Adobe Spark Video. Adobe Spark Post is is a tool that allows users to create images with text. All these they're basically templates that are designed to be used for social media posts. And Canva is just Canva is a great tool for publishing. If you want to do a flyer, a social media post, a poster, Canva is terrific. It's they're designed really beautifully. Um, Lots of template options, and it's basically plug and play. You substitute your text, you substitute your pictures. Okay? And those are ways to get kids to publish stories, their images and their words. Anyway, that's pretty much what I have to share with you guys. Any questions, thoughts, anything I can show you? Although, like I said, my Wi-Fi is just gagging here.
Oh, we're good.
Great.
Do you see a use, Paul, for Flipgrid? I think Flipgrid only does video, but I would imagine you could maybe put stills into that.
You can't. Flipgrid is a recording of your webcam, right? So it's
Okay.
whatever you're displaying. But Flipgrid is great for getting kids to share on camera. Um, it's great for building community because they can see each other, hear each other, comment on each other's videos. Especially in the situation that we have now. It's not live and it's virtual, but it does give us a way to connect to one another.
So not good for stills then, though.
You would have it's a recording of your live camera.
Too much, yeah. Okay. Thanks.
If you want to do stills, um, Google Slides. You can't record. I mean, that would be image and text, but no voice. But if you want to do all three, perhaps you want to use Adobe Spark Video. Sorry. You can also use other video editing tools like iMovie or WeVideo.
Okay.
Anybody else?
Do you have like a particular? Sorry, jump in. Anyone else, if you have a question? Do you have like a one assignment that you can give as a specific example of something you or a teacher might have done with this, like what they actually assigned?
Yeah. I can. Let me work on tacking that on at the end of the slide. Um, the activities. The activities I shared with you are examples of some of the things that I've done. There are others, especially when it comes to like I didn't spend much time on lessons that I'd done with second graders and I think kindergartners on reading pictures. And that is such an important skill to develop, that the visual literacy piece. I don't think we give it nearly enough time yet. This is what kids are immersed in, images. But I can tack those at the end of this presentation. It's a good idea. Like I said, I really wasn't done with this presentation.
That's fine. It's actually stimulating, and it encourages more thought for sure.
Terrific. All right.
Yes. Thank you, Paul.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
All right. Take care, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
All right. Bye-bye.